welcome back to Wedding Mayhem, your wedding channel for all things weddings. And we've got Lizzie from Bougie Music with me.
Yes, I'm back.
I know you called it boogie music.
You called me, boozy music.
Boozy music, that's the after party.
Yeah, that's it.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm really excited. I've had a great week.
Yeah, you came in buzzing. What's happened?
Yeah, I'm absolutely buzzing. I have been nominated for an award. I also do a radio show as well as presenting other things. But I do a radio show on Marlow FM, and I've been nominated for Female Presenter of the Year on Community Radio. Yeah, so it's a nomination at this stage. So, yeah, but I'm excited
to be acknowledged for your work, particularly 100%. I think because obviously you're in a studio pretty much on your own, aren't you? You're not...
It's alone. Sometimes it's very. I run the desk myself. I produce the shows myself. I host it all myself, and sometimes you know, and apart from you get the odd listener who will like message in saying I'm enjoying the show. That's really nice, but to be recognised officially. It's really exciting. And I'm going to take my friend and we're going to dress up and we're going to have a great time. I'm so excited.
God, I'm so well done.
Thank you. Thank you.
So with these radio shows, when people ring in, is that real live?
Real life, yeah.
At the time? At the time. What they swear or say something really...
Well, you have a chat with them beforehand. Like when it's please, it's a bit very Davina McCall, like, I'm talking to you live, do not swear. But 9 times out of 10 people know that it's probably not right to swear at midday.
Oh, it's midday. I was on Capital once.
Oh, okay.
I won a prize.
Did you swear on Capital?
No.
Okay, good.
No, but they talked to me before. So they did the competition and said, right, you're going live now. And I didn't know whether I'd won or not.
Okay.
And it was a really good time. And I won £1,000. And I was taking my dog to the vet. And that cost me £1,500.
Oh, my gosh.
So it was like...
Oh, my gosh.
I've won an award.
Oh.
Actually, I'll up you. I won 3 awards this week.
Wow. Tell me all about it.
So
tell me everything.
So best honey in show.
Wow.
So for my honey.
And you've just given me a lovely jar of it and I can't wait.
And
I cannot wait.
And I also won best beeswax.
Amazing.
There you go.
Wow. So what's the judging process for that? Like how do they...
Well...
Is it long?
I don't know. It's the village.
It's the village.
Yeah, and it's quite political.
Yeah.
And the same guy wins the whole overall cup every year.
Oh.
And I noticed that all the jars were all different jars, and you can spot my jars, and you can spot his jars, and somebody else's jars.
So you're the Gary Lineker of the Out on Deck world right now.
What does that mean?
Well, Gary Lineker's just won the Presenter of the Year award.
Oh, he did. Yeah, I saw
and
that.
He broke the 24-year Out on Deck win. So. Yeah, you are the Gary Lineker of your village.
Yeah, well, I'm going to get the cup next year. So, because I said to judges, all the jars need to be the same.
Yeah.
They can't be all different jars. They all need to be the same.
Consistency.
Exactly that, And
well, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Look at this.
We have a very special guest with us, a returning guest.
Weddings can come with mayhem. Cocktails don't have to. Liberation Cocktails, pouches and party kegs pour mixologist-grade cocktails without the hassle. Take 15% off with code WEDDING15 at liberationcocktails.com.
Sarah Davison, the divorce coach.
Yes.
You're back.
Thanks for having me back.
And you're like, oh my God, I'm going to be all doom and gloom on this. But let me tell you, nearly 100,000 people have viewed your last episode.
Oh.
We're a few down. To go back and watch it, we need to get you up to 100,000. But we're nearly there. So,
well, that's good. At least people were interested.
Yeah. And you wouldn't, this is a wedding channel, but we do have to talk about the homework and the business side of it to get us to weddings and not to go ahead if things are not good. And this is where you come in.
Knowledge is power, isn't it?
Knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
Well, we talked in the green room, didn't we? We all know somebody who, has been in a relationship that shouldn't have got married, but they still went ahead and got married. And we're not telling you not to get married. We're telling you to try and help you try and fix it if it can be fixed. And if it can't be fixed, then get the head out, basically.
And you can give the tools for people to protect themselves if things don't go as they planned.
Yeah,
so
100%.
Absolutely.
So obviously I've met you before, but can you tell us exactly how this started? Because this isn't I'm at school, want to be a policeman or a nurse or a fire brigade.
No.
I want to be a divorce coach. So how did this all
definitely
start?
wasn't on the careers board when I was trying to think about what I wanted to do. And I think sometimes the best things are unplanned and come out of nowhere. But I was catapulted out of my own marriage about 16 years ago, when I discovered that not only did my husband not want to be married to me, but was madly in love with somebody else. And she was 12 years younger than me. And that's, oh my God, that's a real, like,
that hurts. That is.
And stunningly beautiful, which again, you can kind of, I was looking, because I just had our baby, so he was only 1 at the time. We worked together as well. And so my confidence was a bit low, I suppose. I had no idea I was in a toxic relationship, because we very much minimalise that and normalise it when we're in them, just so we can survive.
Okay.
And then I found out within a couple of months that she was pregnant and they were expecting a baby.
Oh, gosh.
They moved into the penthouse apartment above where I was living with our son, and she became a director of our business.
Wow.
So
And you were still in this business?
Yes.
Wow.
So were you not allowed, could you not disallow this, or?
There's a lot of loopholes that can be exposed. And it was just one of those, I mean, I was a wreck, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, I was doing a lot of that.
Well, things were probably are acting, it was literally running like a train, I suppose, at the time.
Yeah. I mean, we had 200 staff. We had an office in London, an office in Sydney. And I was like, right, after 2 months of really ugly, snotty crying on the bathroom floor, phoning my mum at 2 a.m.
God, I look like a frog when I'm crying.
I know. It's not
No, the Kermit time.
it's really not a good look, is it?
No, it's
Really
not.
not. And it was the 16 years ago, it was the juicy tracksuit sort of era. And so that's all I lived in. I was just like, I would never get dressed up or go out or anything. So
But also, you were a new mum at this
yeah, I was a
stage.
new mum. Yeah.
And new mums struggle all the time with confidence after having a baby.
Yeah.
Your body changes, your hormones,
Absolutely.
everything.
Yeah.
And in that moment, you're the most vulnerable, I think, as well.
Yeah.
Evolutionary you are, because you're protecting your child. So that must have really affected you, just from that point of view, that your whole foundation had been rocked.
Oh yeah, because your whole identity is wrapped up in what you do, isn't it? So being a mum was part of that. Now I was suddenly a single mum overnight. The father was having a baby with someone else, madly in love, like off, like gone. No emotional attachment to me whatsoever, just completely gone. And then my work was completely decimated and humiliating, because walking into an office where everybody knew before me.
Did you feel that everybody was laughing at you?
No, because most of
knew,
them were
didn't they?
nice.
Yeah.
I found that there were a few dalliances with people that I'd been working with as well.
What?
Oh, yeah. There's, I mean,
So he
it's
was
the tip of the iceberg, and then
dipping
suddenly
the wick in other places before this relationship.
there were definitely things that came up that were challenging to sort of process when you'd been working closely with certain women, and then you found out that maybe they hadn't actually been as honest or...
You hope that women would have women's back.
You would,
Yeah.
especially when you've sort of nurtured people and brought them through the business
Yeah,
and things.
yeah.
But I decided, look, we've got an office in Sydney. Wouldn't it be great if I just got on a plane and went to the other side of the world? Because that will solve my problems.
Yeah.
So I took my son and we went off there for 3 weeks, I think we decided to go for. But when I got there, everyone in the Australian office, it was super lovely, but they would come up and say, oh my God, I'm so glad you know, because I found out 3 months ago, or I caught them here, or I knew that was going on. I
gosh.
didn't know how to tell you. I'm so
But
sorry.
it's hard, isn't it? I've had to keep a few secrets, thinking I'm not comfortable with this, but actually,
Yeah.
it's not my position to out.
Yeah, and it
people.
wasn't. But it was a dagger to the heart every time someone was
Betrayal.
coming to me. So even though I was the other side of the world, I was still dealing with all this trauma. And one day it just got too much. I was like, right, I just need to get out of here. And I went down to Balmoral Beach, which is, for anyone who hasn't been there, it's like white sand, turquoise sea. And there I am on a seawall, bawling my eyes out again, racked with physical pain, because heartbreak comes with like a real physical searing agony.
Yeah.
And then a cockatoo just flew down and landed next to me with his like yellow plumes, beautiful white bird. Because they're like pigeons out there, they're everywhere. But for us Brits, I was like, wow.
I'd
And
take
I
it
just
home.
Yeah.
I don't think you
Not
can
very
do that.
friendly. Unfortunately. But I was like, what am I doing? I'm sat here in this amazing environment, and yet I'm sobbing my eyes out, feeling sorry for myself.
For a man
Yeah.
that hasn't treated you very
Yeah.
well.
And I was like, enough is enough. Like I'd been a coach for about 15 years at that point, and I was like, right, I know I can turn this around. I tried therapy and counselling, but it just hadn't touched the sides. You know, talking about how bad you feel when you're going through a tough time can actually keep you stuck sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And
got to move, haven't you?
Yeah.
But is it harder because you know the tools? Is it harder to give yourself that teaching? Is it harder to give yourself that advice because you come from it's almost like you have to walk the walk and do it yourself, and is it hard? It's easier to tell other people to do it, I guess. Or is it not?
The tools didn't really exist. So all I had to do was take my experience of the divorce that I was catapulted into and then combine that with the tools. So, you know, instead of doing all that ugly crying, what can I do to get up off the floor? Yeah, and I just sort of amalgamated, tweaked, and then tested everything.
Yeah.
You know, if I'm not getting out of bed, what will get me out of bed? If I've got to go to work and they're there, how do I cope with that? If I have to not see my son or hand my baby over to somebody who's having another baby and I didn't sign up to not putting my son to bed or looking after him.
Yeah.
And at that age, they're so young, you know, as a mum, you feel like you're the only one that really gets them. And so that was really painful, but I had to do it. So how was I going to cope with it? So that's when I created all the tools, wrote my first book, Uncoupling, that became a bestseller. And I realised, God, there's a real need to share this.
Yeah.
When I was on that seawall crying, that was a real pivotal moment for me. I just had this flash in my head of, screw you, watch this. And my next book that's coming out in October is called Screw You, Watch This.
Yes,
love it.
Love
it.
Yeah. And
I'll make a candle to go with it.
yes, I love that. Yeah, we should do that. That would be super cool. No, so I just created all the tools, and then that's what I now share with everybody else.
How important was it to actually practice on you? I suppose it's like baking a cake and making sure you like it before you sell it.
I always have to do that. Yeah, you always have to try your cake, don't you?
Yeah, but how important was it in this instance for you to have gone through it and developed these tools to then...
Well, that's how I know they work. I mean, some of it didn't work, and I was like, well, that's rubbish. I've got to do something else. I've got to create something else.
What didn't work?
Well, the positive thinking on its own is highly ineffective. Yeah. If there are no weeds looking at your garden full of weeds. It's just not going to clear it up. Like, there's weeds, you've got to take your power back. Yeah. So when I was going, right, okay, well, you know, I am happy, I'm happy. Well, I'm not freaking happy, and I'm literally devastated. So it's learning to identify and really label the individual emotions, because it's such an overwhelm of confusion, betrayal, heartbreak, anger,
grief,
sadness, grief. Yeah, you're grieving the end of a relationship.
Yeah.
And then also, because I realised mine was abusive, toxic, narcissistic abuse that I'd been dealing with, coming to the realisation where I felt like an idiot and ashamed and frightened. I was very scared.
And a failure.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. I know we joke about how many times I've been married, but you know, and I have been so lucky with two fantastic ex-husbands that we managed to navigate through. But that feeling of failure still will forever haunt me. You know, because it's, you know, we don't want to fail, do we? When we get married, we marry for life. We don't marry for short term.
I think I've managed. I don't feel like a failure now, because I think it's turning that pain into power and being able to flip it. And that screw you, watch this is very empowering. It's like, would I change it? No, because of my son. And he's the most amazing human, and that's given me so many gifts. And the fact that I've been able to help people with it, that now I think I was actually meant to go through that. And I do think everything happens for a reason and serves a purpose, and you don't see it at the time. You definitely don't see it when you're sat on the seawall sobbing your eyes out going, oh, I can't cope. But actually now that I wouldn't do it any other way, I don't think.
It's so inspirational seeing someone turn pain into power, because there are so many things that you see where people have had terrible things perhaps happen to their child, or their child's had a sudden illness or something, and they've turned their whole life's vocation into a charity or something, a cause where they've made it their life's mission, and life has given them that opportunity to do that and give back to people. And I think it's amazing that you've done that, where you've had to be vulnerable and share this with the world, and be like, this has happened to me. I've got no shame in this. This is okay. And this is now I'm going to give back to the rest of the world.
How important is it for people to see that the pain and the hurt that you've gone through?
Well, I mean, that was never my intention to sort of share that. I think it was just the fact that when I put my book out there and then the media got a hold of it, they said, well, you know, how did you get into this? And well, there's no hiding it, is it? It's like not like you said, it wasn't on the job board. I meant, oh yeah, I'm going to do that, and here I am. And I think for people to see that actually I've been to rock bottom, because maybe what they see now, they think, oh well, it's easy for you because you're confident and you're happy and you're, well, yeah, but I wasn't at that point, you know, and I was broken into a million pieces. And I do a lot of corporate work as well. I go into companies and because if someone's going through a breakup, it reduces your productivity in the workplace by 40%.
Do you know, I talked to my husband about this after when you came in.
Yeah.
And he went, Sharon, you're so right. He said the amount of sick days that they have to give, and we talked to other businesses, and they went, you know what, we're going to do this because, you know, we want to be supportive, and we want people to come to work. So if we're doing this, people will want to come to work to talk about it, and it gets people talking more, and they're working more, they're working better.
Yeah, because it'll take you out, as you know, we're going through it. It just decimates every thought in your head. So, but
you can't process. You can't.
No,
you can't function.
And can't lead a team. It can inspire people.
It can lead to physical. It can actually lead to physical illness too. You know, when people are run down, they get cold sores and they get ulcers and things like that. It is all encompassing. This.
It's not just mental health; it's physical, and also for businesses, the bottom line. But when I go into corporates, I always lead with my story, and that's where you have a huge impact, because people in the office are like, she's sharing something quite personal, and we don't normally do that. We're in the office, got my corporate mask on. But I was training the British government on how to spot the signs of domestic abuse, and I started with my story, and they'd said, look, it's a webinar, don't expect people to engage with you on the chat. It's very personal, so you know, don't be upset if no one engages, because we don't normally do that. Because I'd gone first and shared my story, we had so many comments coming through of people they knew, people they'd helped, people of their own experiences. And they were like, wow, this is one of the best presentations and the highest engagement we've ever had, because we didn't expect that, because it's so personal. So I just think that if people see that you've been through it, it sort of shows that the tools work, you can do it, it is possible, and gives them the hope that sometimes is all they have at that beginning stage. It's just the hope that they will get through it, and they will.
At the time it happens, I would assume as well, it's like looking up a really steep mountain, going, I'm going to have to climb that. It's so much ahead of you, and then seeing someone who's climbed that mountain and can now look at the rest of the with perspective. I think it's really it gives people so much faith, which is really important. Hope. They say depression is sadness without hope. It's like, it's just having that hope that you can get through it is really important.
We don't want to talk about divorce, but divorce is there.
56%.
56%. I knew you'd have the figures. It's a lot, isn't it?
But yeah, 56%.
God, I've taken about 47%. So. He nodded. All right, you and your little washed hair. But as I said, we marry for love. We marry for future. How can we try and avoid this road to divorce?
Well, I think most people aren't worried about getting married. They're worried about marrying the wrong person.
Yes.
And that's the biggest fear. And it should be, because divorce is known as the second most traumatic life experience we go through after death of a loved one. And you go through that same grieving loss cycle that you go through. So it's definitely something we need to think about and make sure, is this person the right match for me? And I know that when I was coming up to when I met my ex, I was in quite a vulnerable place. My mum had a brain hemorrhage, and luckily she was great and she'd survived, and there was a lot of 6-7 months in rehab, but she got through it. But I was quite vulnerable, and it had really flipped my values on family, because I was career, had my own business, I was all about what bag I had and what car I was driving. And then that happened, and I saw how my dad looked after my mum and was there every minute of the day, and my brother and me, and we just came together for that amount of time. And I thought, gosh, I want that. And so I was quite vulnerable. I was ready, and I was looking for someone. And also, I met him when I was 30, so I had the TikTok going as well. And I was thinking, right, because I'm 30, this is the right time. The next boyfriend should be the husband, right? I didn't even think, but he's got to be the right one.
I literally had a bride that actually has come back for her second wedding. And I did her first one 20 odd years ago, and she said, I had the ticking clock.
Yeah.
She said, and I know he laughed at me. She plumped.
Yeah.
She said, right, he's here now.
Yeah.
That's it. I'll make it work. And she said, and I couldn't change the person.
And I think that is the problem, isn't it? We sort of have so many things, moving parts, and we think, right, well, because I'm at the right age, this is the next step. So we're going to shoehorn this into the ideal partner. But if it's not, and it falls apart, divorce is traumatic. But also, if you have children with them, you are tied to them. And that means, yes, and that means you don't see your child every day in a lot of cases. 50-50 is the sort of presumption of contact with both parents at any cost in the UK family court system, which probably shouldn't go into at this stage, but quite toxic. So I would say, it's really important to think about it. And I work with so many different people in this field. And actually, interestingly, I don't know what you guys think about this, but there are a lot of women who are now choosing to have babies using a sperm donor.
Yes.
Who are single.
Yes.
They get to put their kids to bed every single night.
Yes. Yeah.
They don't have someone telling them what they can and
We're
can't
wanting
do.
control.
Yeah.
And rather than just say, right, here's a man now.
Yeah.
Fine, you're here now. Let's do now.
Yeah.
And then think about the consequences later.
Yeah.
I think we are thinking more about it.
Exactly.
There's no shade on it.
No.
now.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of my clients who come out of divorce are saying, that would have been so much easier because now I've got to battle over when I see them, how I see them, what I do. Someone else is telling me how to make decisions, especially if it was a toxic relationship.
Yeah.
It's really challenging. So
If it's, I was really lucky with my first husband, who's my son's dad. Dad's son.
Well, we can't tell you that.
Oh, we're half a drink down. We have to say many thanks to Liberation Cocktails for our drinks. We're still celebrating our 4 million views.
Good.
It is so good. I can't believe it. I can
You guys are amazing.
But having him, he was lucky. He had him half the week, and I had him half the week. So I was able to, keep working because I was, the biggest earner, and actually that helped me. And actually, Matt's an amazing guy now, and but he had both parents full time, though separate. But there was no tug of war.
Yeah.
In fact, at some points, we were saying, well, who do you want to go to? And he went, will you make a decision?
Oh.
So he had the freedom, but that is so rare.
Yeah.
And
some mums don't want that option either. They want to have their kids with them all the time. It's difficult. If you never signed up.
I hadn't actually contemplated the fact that someone else could betray you, end the marriage, and then that means that you then have to, your child then is with you 50% of the time, and you've lost your whole life.
Down to them making
down to them
choices.
making
and then you have to hand your child over to them and somebody else.
And somebody else who did it.
Is getting, or he is getting time with your child that you,
That
who
is
doesn't
just-
have what you.
that's one of the hardest things to do.
And with social media now as well, you can see that taking place and them playing happy families. Taking that family away from you, that is just awful.
I mean, that is the hardest part. And I actually think that is probably the biggest challenge ongoing.
Yeah.
Because, there's different stages. And is it, if you have 50-50, when does their birthday fall? Is it in your week this year or is it their week this year?
Yeah.
And then, one Christmas on, Christmas off, or do you get Christmas morning or Christmas evening? Now, there are total ways to cope with that.
You invite them all round.
Is that something that you would go through with them as well?
I would say have 2 Christmases.
Yes, 100%. That's what we did.
Don't get caught up on it. It doesn't have to be the 25th of December. It could be the 3rd of December.
I had a Christmas with 2 husbands at the table, and it worked fine.
Did you get extra presents? That's the main
Well,
thing.
what happened? This is quite a funny story because I actually got them both the same presents.
Keep it simple.
And, well, it was like one of these toaster and
One of those pottery bowls you made.
No. So, but it was a deal on. You got one half price sort of thing. So I thought, and I was only just a few months into the new relationship, so I both got them. Well, I didn't expect them both to open it at the same time.
Okay.
On Christmas Day, I thought they'd take them home to their houses. It was a bit orcs.
It's fine.
But then we did then move. When I'm married, then it moved on to Boxing Day. That was my. And we still now, with our children, still now as adults, have 2 Christmases.
Yeah.
So.
And also kids don't know what the date is. My children,
they
5
loved
and
it.
6-year-old, they don't. We could tell them it's Christmas Day tomorrow, and they wouldn't even know.
Can you help us spot the signs of somebody that is not our rightful partner?
Yeah.
I mean, yes. I mean, the interesting thing is I can, but you will know.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things, we disengage from our instinct, which is basically our body's burglar alarm, our internal burglar alarm that goes off and tells us there's something not right here. Something is not right. And it's our protection mechanism, that gut instinct that triggers that, But quite often we're so focused on, well, now the clock's ticking, or I'm really desperate to get into a relationship, or there's so many good things about it.
He gets on with my family.
Just,
we all
my
have
friends
such
are getting
fun.
married.
Yeah, all the other things. So if you have that feeling at all, listen to it and trust it. That's the key. So you will probably know. I mean, I think most of us will listen more to our house burglar alarm going off than we will our instinct going off. It's really interesting how we just shut that down. That's not convenient.
But as girls, we're told that, trust your instincts, but, we're oversensitizing.
Yeah.
Normally by our partners.
Yeah, true. And I think quite often we have rose-tinted glasses because it's what we think we want and it's everything, and just ignore those niggling things. I mean, I definitely did that when I got married. There were definitely red flags. But, anything that makes you feel confused, where you start to doubt yourself. So
what do you mean?
Gaslighting behaviour. So, turning it back on you. So it's classic Darvo technique where they'll deny, they'll then attack, and then they'll reverse who's the victim and who's the offender. So, for example, I don't really like the way you spoke to me. Well, I didn't do that. What are you talking about? So that's the deny. In fact, that didn't happen. So you're always having a go at me. Why are you always having a go at me? Why are you always just going at me? Like, God, you just nag all the time. So that's deny and then attack. And then it's like, you know what? Sometimes I it's not fair on me the way you just keep going here all the time. Like, I'm trying to work and I'm doing this, and that then they become the victim and you're the offender. So before you know it, it's all switched around.
This has just happened to my sister. My sister is now in the darkest pool of dating and these apps, and there was this guy, and they were getting on really, really well. Lots of love bombing. So I told her, I said, there's love bombing, and she went, I don't think it is. Well, it turned out it was, but basically then they were arranging to meet, and he wanted her to travel all the way. It was like hours and hours, spend basically the weekend with him. Not met him before. Not even a face. I said, will you please FaceTime him? And then she sort of sensed, she was like, no, I'm not doing this, sort of thing. But she said, look, I don't feel comfortable coming all the way there to meet somebody I've never met before.
It's
Can we meet in the middle?
Yeah.
And the moment that she said, let's meet in the middle, he then turned it back on her. And the abuse that she got.
You're obviously not ready to make a commitment. If you're not bothered to put now, then what I'm going to... Yeah, very common.
Yeah.
But again, it's having the awareness, because otherwise, as highly empathetic people that's how we get into these relationships.
Yeah.
You can't get in unless you're a people pleaser and you want to make everyone
I'm
okay.
such a bit guilty.
Yeah. So,
I've got a book in me. So.
But I bet your sister's like, oh God, well maybe I should have gone all that way. You start thinking,
you do.
well,
No, she's a really strong girl. She knew hang on, no, I'm not coming all that way.
But you do.
But
You
do
sit on
doubt
it and you
yourself, right?
do start. There's little inklings.
Yeah.
Go. Am I
the difficult
cutting my
one?
nose off to spite my face? Am I making these bad decisions? Am I causing this?
Yeah. And if you look back in time, you'll see that the one relationship that was the big kind of toxic one, you'll see that there were others if you really look back. So there's lies as well. So just lying. I always say that if their lips are moving or their fingers are typing, just assume it's a lie, because that's how their world works, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, one thing that people don't know is that abuse is not always nasty. And what I mean by that, abuse is not always nasty, because people think, oh, well, they're so nice, they're so charming, they're so kind, generous, life and soul. Yes, because that is still abuse. It's manipulation of the people having the parts to play in their life that they need. So they might need your work colleagues to think they're charming and lovely, because then they're not going to say, you shouldn't be seeing him.
Yes.
Or her, right? And then behind the scenes, behind closed doors, it might be very different.
Yeah.
So you think, well, it can't be abusive because everyone loves them.
I used to date a guy, and in fact, it's too long of a story to set on here now. But I had exactly that. So when I was telling people all about what was happening, this is not right, and they're like, get out, he's a not, he's this, he's that. the moment that they met him, they went, oh my God, he's so lovely.
Yeah. Maybe you are a bit clingy or a bit needy.
Yeah.
Yes, I had all that back. Obviously, he apologised once everything came out, it was exactly that.
These sociopaths, they probably work at it in so many different areas of their life in trying to come across in a way to get to win something back.
Yeah.
And I guess they are right. A lot of, say specifically women in this scenario, and probably men as well actually, listen to their close circle. And if they do win over their close circle, they then have that arena of good, positive things around them. And then they're like, oh, well, then maybe it is me. Yeah. My friends think he's great.
Yeah.
Well, you do look for your friends and your family for approval, don't you?
Well, you do, but isolation is another tactic.
Right.
So
and that won't be instant either. It won't be, oh, don't go see your parents. It will be, oh, do you know what? I can't really face seeing your parents this weekend. I'm just a bit tired. Can we leave it? Can we just go another day? And you're like, people pleaser? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I get it. A bit, okay, well, sure. Okay. Then the next time it's a bit more. It's maybe like, look, I really don't want to go this time. Like, you go on your own if you want to leave me on my own. If you're happy with that, you go. I'll be okay. It's only my only day off. It's be shame that we can't spend time together on our one day off. But if you need to prioritise your parents over our marriage, I get it. You do that.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay.
Oh my God, I've dated these people.
I
didn't marry them. It's okay. Dad.
I feel like a lot of people probably do have these people in the past. Like people watching or listening now will be thinking, I have dated that person with all those traits.
And it can happen with friends as well. Friends that are particularly close. It might be, are you sure she's got your back on that one? I'm not sure,
Is she a cheerleader or is she jealous of you?
Yeah.
We do see it in the shop when the brides are in trying dresses on, and we always say, they don't mean to be that person, but I think you're right.
Yeah.
It is a jealousy thing.
Yeah.
They're bringing the girls down,
and
it's so awful to see, because you can see the bride doubting themselves, and then when she's in the changing room, they're chatting about her and the relationship, and it's like, oh my God, you're supposed to be the best friend,
and your inner circle should be lifting you up, and and telling you positive things, and really the people you surround yourself are the people you become. So you want to be around positive people. If you're taking them to the most important, your dress fitting, and they are bringing you down in that moment, that is just that is awful.
Having said that, the friend that did call out this particular person was the only one, and she was told that she was stop it, you're intimidating, you're this and this and I too also was like, oh, you're being too mean.
I was going to say, do you interject if someone's being harsh about a dress that, say, the bride is particularly fond of? Do you interject?
I'm the mum.
Yeah, good.
So we have a system in place in the boutique where, because our change rooms are quite big, and we have the conversation with the girls. We ask them, do you like this one more than the other one? So before we go out, we say she likes this one better than the other one. We've only just started to do it because our hearts are breaking when we see the girls that have said yes to get dressed in the changing room, and then they come out, they're in the rails going, try this, and then she goes, I like this one. They go, oh no, this one's better. And you can see her face go, and it's just like, so we have stopped that, but
that's good to have that in place.
It's hard. So what else should we be looking for?
Well, have you heard about the masked compliments?
No.
It just gets them every time.
I need a drink for this one. I'm in, sister.
So imagine, right? And I'm sure maybe this might have happened as well, but
cheers.
Congratulations on your award.
Oh,
yes,
you too. You. Sorry.
You carry on.
So you're getting ready on a night out, you're getting dressed, and you come out and you think, okay, I've got my outfit on, and partner's waiting. You come out and they go, oh, bless you. Oh, yeah. I mean, bless you. You're so confident. I love the way that you're wearing a sleeveless dress. Even though you know about your arms, and I know you're just a little bit conscious about it.
We get mums doing that in the shop.
Good for you. Good for you. Come on then, let's go. 9 times out of 10, they're like turning around, going back and getting changed. And they're saying, I didn't feel right about that. And when we talk about it in a session, they'll be like, no, but they were being nice. They were saying, well done, and you're confident. And I'm taking that as a compliment. And then one of my clients said, oh, he calls me fatty bum bum. But it's a nice compliment, And I said,
I've been called fatty bum bum. I have.
But that's all the rage these days.
Yeah.
The fatty bum bum.
No, this was
all the rage.
it was back in a very long time ago, and the guy was a dick.
Okay.
And I think, there's a lot of things that it's just like, oh, well done you.
Yeah.
Even though, your arms are just
so
You're
condescending.
pulling somebody
as well.
down.
Yeah.
aren't you?
And it's
Passively.
breaking away the confidence.
Is that what we're doing?
Slow
Okay.
erosion over time, because it's not just oh my God, you're like too fat, get out. It's not like that.
Yeah.
It's slow, and it makes you think,
Chipping
maybe
away.
they've got a point. Yeah, maybe I will, wear that.
Yeah.
And then the control can be financial as well. So it might be, did you take a flask of coffee to the office today? No, I've got the canteen, so I just grabbed one. So you paid for that then, did you? Okay, why would you do that if we've got coffee at home? Like, come on, like, you're not committed to, if you want to do things, you got to save up. What are you doing? And it's those kinds of comments that make you think, oh, I better not. But then being a people pleaser, that won't just be a coffee. You'll think every time now you go out to spend, you'll be thinking, maybe I shouldn't be spending on this. Now, there might be a factual issue that you are trying to budget and you might try to save, and that's a healthy dynamic and you're both working.
But are they also doing it themselves?
Yeah.
If they're not doing it themselves.
And there's a controlling element, and there's a come on, like, don't have the fancy, lunch at, wherever you went. We're trying to budget, right? Okay, not there's that give and take in a relationship, but then there's, look, I'm controlling everything you're doing.
Is this when they then start taking over the bank accounts? We talked about this in COVID. You saw it more in COVID.
Oh yeah. It's very slow, and it might be, again, you're not so good at the finances, but don't worry, I'm going to look after you now. I'm going to look after you, so you don't even need to worry about any of that. A lot of people are like, oh, hallelujah, I don't have to think about money and budgeting, but you do, because you're not allowed to spend anything and everything goes through them. Right. But then it would be like, well, we'll just put everything in this bank account, put your salary in, put everything in, and then I'll divvy it up, and then I'll make sure that we don't overspend. Now, in some healthy relationships, that can work really well, right? So it's not saying that is a red flag for abuse. But if you're feeling like you have no freedom, or they're controlling what you spend, or they're giving you an allowance. I had a barrister come and see me. So you would think, highly educated, switched on female, top of her profession. And she said, I don't get to see my salary. It goes straight into his bank account. And then depending on how well I've done that month, depends on how much I get at the end of the month.
Serious? Wow. So my husband and I, we've got our household account, we've got our holiday fund, and we've got our own accounts. We've both got a runaway fund. I know you have. Because we it's that independent.
Yeah.
Because it's if we did split up, it's clean.
Yeah.
Also if one of us was to die suddenly, we've got our own bank accounts, because everything gets frozen, doesn't it? So it's like,
was that the same way with your past marriages, or was it different?
It was with my second, and not with my first. Did I have a bank account? I think I had my own bank account, but I think we just pulled everything. But it wasn't for that reason. I was young, very very young.
Yeah.
I met him when I was 18 and married at 21, 22.
Wow.
21, and so it was easier. But I've always been independent. I left home at 16 on the dot.
Yeah.
But even before then, mum was single mum, so I knew about budgeting and stuff like that. So I've always been money wise.
Yeah.
So I never really had that. But I've got friends that in that same situation that will be watching this going, and I keep saying, get out.
Yeah. It's not easy to get out when you're in, though. And
no, because now you haven't got any money.
Now you haven't got any money. You've probably
lost all your friends.
Yeah, and your family support. And your confidence is low.
Yeah.
And you've probably been told, well, you'll never survive on your own. You'll never find love again. Who's going to love you? So all these things compound. It takes on average 8 times to leave an abusive relationship.
Does it?
Because the cycle is, everything's going okay. Then there'll be an incident of abuse. So they might, say something nasty or, God forbid, even worse. So something happens. Then as the victim of that, you recoil and you're like, oh my God, I can't cope. This is really right. This isn't right. I'm upset. And then they engage in hoovering, which is when they deploy all the tactics to get you back into the good books. So it'll either be, that didn't happen. What are you talking about? Come on, get over it. Yeah. You're too sensitive.
You're making a big thing.
You're making a big thing of it.
Yeah, okay.
Or it'll be
because us girls are known for it being dramatic, aren't we? And up and down with our hormones.
Oh, it could be labelled as anything really at this stage. Or it can just be that the next day you wake up and everything's fine. So it could be really bad in the moment. And then the next morning, it's like, here's breakfast, darling. What are we going to do today? Come on then, let's go.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, okay, well, thank God that awful, scary time is gone. And now everything's calm. I don't want to rock the boat. So, okay, we're back on an even keel. Let's keep going. So you kind of get sucked back into the routine, and it's really hard. And then when you leave, they try and increase the control. And the scary...
How do they do that?
Well, there's lots.
I'm asking because people watching going, oh my God, this is me.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't realise.
Yeah. There's so many tactics they can deploy. They can be very upset. They can be very remorseful. I'm so sorry. Let me speak to your parents. Let me apologise. Let me do the grandiose gestures. Let me remind you what you're missing. Let me take you to a nice restaurant. Let me, tell you everything's going to be okay. Promises. I'm going to change.
Okay.
Or, look, that didn't happen that way. You're getting this wrong. You're overreacting. So there's different tactics they have in the arsenal, and they will have trained you. So everyone's different. And everyone has their own pet psycho and will know what their tactics tend to be.
Psycho. It's like Tamagotchi.
Exactly.
On a key ring.
You've got to get to know the tactics.
They're back.
Yeah.
Tamagotchis are back, by the way.
Are they back?
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
I don't need one. I've already got a pet psycho. I'm okay. But I think it's sort of everyone's different, and you've all got to get into understanding what the tactics are, because they all play off the same tactics. It feels overwhelming, it feels confusing, but actually it is very textbook. There are different tactics that we've described that they all use, but your pet psycho will maybe prefer the belittling or the confusing rather than the lying or the isolating. So you'll know which one they go to. So you just got to be conscious here where so you can spot it, because it's very tempting to go back to that safety, and strangely, what is familiar feels safe, but actually, ironically, it's not safe for you. So it's about understanding, am I going back because that's what I know and that's what I feel safe in?
Yeah.
But is it actually?
Is it
And that's where talking to somebody who really gets it, or actually opening up to somebody, can be a good opportunity. What I found, though, was talking to parents and friends. They were like, but no, he's a really good guy. I don't really, what?
Yeah.
And then you sort of think, oh, maybe it is me then. So actually speaking to a professional who specialises in spotting the signs and understands what you're going through. I think the important thing to say here, and I don't want to scare anyone, but 30% of domestic homicides in the UK happen within 3 months of separation. Because as you pull away from the control, that shifts. And so they need to get you back. So your risk level goes up. 80% of those homicides, there was never any physical violence before.
Oh, wow.
Right, okay.
So you can see how
we need to be talking about this. We're not frightening people. It's reality, isn't it?
Because a lot of the times you might get advice from friends or even lawyers, which is one of my bugbears, but it does have heard it so many times. Well, now you're out, go back and have a conversation, see if you can work things through. And that's the most dangerous. Now, it's not going to say that that's going to happen to everyone. Obviously, it's a statistic.
How can we keep ourselves safe?
Well, don't go back and meet with them on your own.
Okay.
Don't
on our own. Okay,
on your own. I wouldn't go back to that house. Stay with people. Stay in. Make sure that you feel safe and that people know where you're going to be. And just be aware that there is a risk. And just because they've never done anything physical before does not mean they won't do it again.
Okay.
Because that is the challenge. And know that the likelihood is they're going to deploy the tactics to get you back in.
Exactly. Their words are their weapon.
Yeah.
So when they know that they're not winning, then we go to extremes, don't we?
I think that's probably, they feel like their verbal control is not working anymore and they have to take it to the next level to try and that's just frightening. And you're most vulnerable. They could use tools like the children and you're at your most vulnerable, you might not have anything. You might be staying on your friend's couch.
Yeah.
You might feel like the nights are closing in and you're on your own and you just, you think, but I know that life, and actually, it's just.
Was it that bad?
Was it that bad?
I need to grow up and deal with it.
Or you're destroying the kids' lives. You're going to take them away from me.
And some parents will say that and even some parents will get involved. And I've seen it happen to my friend, where the parents have said to her, "You're ruining a marriage for this. Like, your marriage is really important. Like, you need to work at this.
Marriage is not easy. We get told a lot.
Yeah, not easy. You need to try this. You need to try that. And it's like."
You're giving up too early.
Yeah, you're giving up too early.
That is true in a healthy dynamic.
Yeah.
I think we do have a culture that's highly disposable at the moment. So if something's not working, it's like, oh, I'll just get a new one. I'll swap that out.
Yeah.
Just have something else.
Yeah.
And
I didn't do that. Just saying.
But if it's toxic or it's not making you happy, then you're not setting a good example for your kids, because you are training them as their role model, what love is, what a healthy marriage is.
True.
And they're going to repeat those
I was going to
patterns.
say, you know, we are, you know, if we are in a marriage and we've got kids, these children are watching, and they're definitely brighter than they ever used to be. That's sponges, aren't they? You know, so they are watching. They're probably sussed it before you sussed it.
Absolutely.
And talking, you know, from somebody who's come from a very violent family with a stepfather that was horrific, watching my mum being beaten up, and vice versa too. You know, it was really tough. You know, so but you know, I watched that happening. Luckily, I think I've come out all right. But but you know, these children are looking at these as patterns. This is how I'm supposed to be behaving.
Yeah.
And that's following them into their adult life.
Behaviour is a language, and if they're watching that language, then they're just going to learn. That's what they're going to learn.
I love that. Behaviour is a language.
Look at you. You need to win this award.
I watch too many self-help things.
How can we document these things? Because we live in the moment when these things are happening, and then we just brush them aside, going, "Oh yeah, no, it was just a blip. It was just me." Yeah. Should we be writing these things down? Should we be keeping a diary? Or
I think it helps get perspective. If you are thinking, I'm not sure about this, then keep a diary. Be careful where you put the diary.
Okay.
Yes.
Because if they've got access to your phone, your notes page, your diary that you put under your bed,
they know what you're thinking. Okay.
They, you know, that I don't want to put anyone in any heightened risk.
Yeah.
And or even confronting them, if you think, are they, you know, abusive, narcissistic, confronting somebody like that is showing your hand. You don't want to do that. So learn the tactics and understand what you're dealing with, and then just, you know, make notes if you can, or mental notes, and just go, okay, I know this is happening, and then you can kind of go back and go, well, there's been 5 or 6 things. It's not a one-off. Because abuse is consistent over time. It's not someone coming in and going having an argument, because everyone has a bad day, and conflict is healthy. Yeah. And if you can resolve conflict and communicate, then you're fine. Yeah. And if you can say, I wasn't really happy with yesterday and how you talked to me, with no negative consequences, just a discussion, might be uncomfortable, but you can resolve it and you're not being attacked for it, then that's a good thing. But this is consistent belittling and abusive tactics over a period of time. Yeah. That's what we're looking for. So it is very different to someone that just has a bad day every Monday because they hate work or something. Yeah. It's a different thing. Yeah. So we've got to, and every red flag, just someone lying or someone, does not mean they are, toxic. Yeah. But these are all red flags to bear in mind. It's happening. And if it's stacked, which you'll see from a diary or keeping records, then you'll be able to. Yeah. But be careful where you're putting this.
So is your book a handbook in spotting all these things?
Yeah.
Is that, so someone who's potentially listening and watching right now, who is sort of, things are starting to think, oh, that's resonating with me a bit. Reading your book could give them the tools to navigate this.
Yeah. So, I set up a training school to train coaches to be able to support people through this. And because I've been working with it for so many years and I've lived it, and also have my own experiences from my own pet psycho and bringing up a boy single-handed in this environment, I've learned so much, and everything I've learned, I've put back into, every time I've had something very difficult to deal with, and there's been a lot of those, you've got a decision to make. You can either let it break you, or you can step up and go, okay, how can I use this, and what can I learn from that? And for me, it's creating content to train my coaches, or it's helping my son with certain things, and then we go forward. So my book is really a culmination of all of that. It's not out as yet, but it will be soon. So
your experiences, and this is what's amazing about what you're doing, is it's not wasteful. It's not like happened to you and then no one's going to learn from it. You are sending it through the channels so that people know how to deal with it, and that's amazing.
You also have a counselling school.
Yeah, the coaching school. Yeah.
So can you tell us more about
that? So we've trained, I think it's like 750 coaches across 32 different countries.
You've got one of my brides.
Oh, really?
Yeah, who saw the programme. Actually,
wow.
We went through a really similar situation.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I think that pain to power journey, there's a lot of self-growth, personal growth that goes on when you train to be a coach. Because I always say, to be an outstanding coach, which is all I'm aiming to help people become, because a lot of average or okay coaches, but that doesn't touch the sides, right? We want to be outstanding, but you've got to walk your talk. Which doesn't mean being perfect, but it does mean mastering the tools. So if something upsets you, and it doesn't have to be you're going through a breakup, but if you are, it will definitely help you heal fast. But it could be like how to dial down negative emotions. So it could be anger or upset if someone comes in front of you on the cuts you up on the motorway or something. So it's how to self-regulate your emotions, how to take control to the remote to your brain, dial down negative emotions, take your power back, and then turn something painful into a valuable learning lesson. And I think if you have kids, again, there's even more reason to do it. Because if you can show that sometimes the greatest pain in your life can actually be the greatest gift, so you can get through anything. You can literally get through.
Do you have to have a degree or anything?
You have to have any previous coaching experience. You have to have a passion, because I'm going to show you how to set up a coaching business. And if you're not passionate about it, it's not going to work. Like with any business. You guys, you got to love what you do. So I would say bring the passion, because I can't train that. For helping people and break up and divorce. But then after that, we give you everything from the coaching skills and the actual tools to deliver.
We're going to put all these links in and everything. He's waving arms at me. We've got questions from the public, and we were flooded. I put it out on social media, and there are a lot of people here that need help. So just grab a free ones that we don't read. We'll put into the pick a couple. We'll put into the box and we'll read them out over time. Do you want a couple more? There we go. It's more there. Right. Who wants to go first?
I can go first.
Go on, Em.
My partner went through a messy breakup before we met, and I feel like he hasn't fully healed. Sometimes it feels like I'm competing with his past. How do I know if he's really ready for marriage?
Good question.
That's a really good question. The only way you're going to know is if you have that communication. But it's very difficult, because you've got to do it by creating a safe space. So if you sit down with someone and say, I think you're on about your ex again, you're talking about her, and it's difficult.
Well, the walls are going to come up, aren't they? They're like,
oh, no, I'm not. I'm fine. So you will know your partner better than anyone, and think about a time. This is always a good way of trying to work out how to come towards it, is to think of a time when it went well. So when did you have another issue with them that you needed to get them to get on board with, but you thought it was going to be difficult? How did you manage it? So what environment did you create, and what kind of opening questions? And I think you have to leave the blame at the door, and you have to come from, most likely, but again, you've got to tailor it to your partner. How am I going to best appeal to this person? So, I'm really curious, and maybe say, I struggle sometimes with this, and I'm noticing sometimes you do that. Would it be useful if we talked about it? Or would it help if, can you help me with this because I'm struggling? Or, how do you get them to open up without being defensive? And I think that's creating a safe space and being able to have those difficult conversations.
Do you think pre-marriage counselling would help with that?
Absolutely.
We're seeing more of that coming through. I mean, it used to be like in the church and stuff like that, but we're getting it more privately.
Absolutely.
I think it's great. I think it's really great. You use the tools of when you have an argument, who's the avoider, and who's the pursuer. I'm definitely the avoider. I'm like, no, thank you. No. And Tim's like, but we can resolve it. And I'm like, you're so calm. You're so calm.
That's annoying me.
That's annoying me.
Right, you got a question?
Yes. I've noticed my fiance hides his phone and goes out more with friends. I'm worried he might be cheating. How do you raise these fears without sounding paranoid? This is a classic, isn't it? It's I don't want to sound paranoid, but this is your instinct going off. It's not paranoia. There is something not right. And the behaviour, whether he is cheating or not, is making you feel uncomfortable. So that's not okay. So
but John and I leave our phones, out. I've been in a position where I was a phone checker for the obvious reason that came to light afterwards. But, there is no need. And, he's left his phone at home and I've been his PA. All the messages coming through. So, we know that we can go in each other's phones. And if that's unusual behaviour, if it's just suddenly started, where it was okay to do it before, then definitely it's a red flag.
Look, it might be that he's having a bit of, I'm going to be getting committed. And so, he's not cheating, but he's just going out more because he's having a bit of a pain. So it's worth having the conversation. But I think the important thing here is to look at how he reacts to that. And can you have these difficult conversations and resolve them in a healthy way? Or is he going to attack or get upset or get defensive? In which case, you do have an issue that needs to be worked through. And if you can't, then I think you need to think seriously about
that's proof in itself, isn't it? Because communication is really important in a marriage. And if you are unable to communicate how you feel and what their actions are doing to you and how they're making you, and he doesn't make a change, then it's going to it's going to
Doesn't bode
impact
well,
you.
does it? He could be hiding his phone because he's got a surprise for the wedding.
Yeah,
He could be.
He might have singing waiters or something.
A lot of my brides, when we talk about how you got engaged and stuff like that, will always say, "I thought he was going to break up with me," because they're keeping secrets. Do you know what I mean? Or they're cheating and stuff like that. So it could be.
Could be that.
It could be something innocent, right? Why are these all cheating? He cheated in a previous relationship. While he says he's changed, I can't shake the fear it could happen again. Can people really change, or should the past behaviour be a warning?
Well,
Can people change?
They can, absolutely they can.
That's
and it
positive.
wasn't the right person, and maybe, I've learned through this job that cheating doesn't always mean that you're the bad guy in the thing. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but sometimes if you don't get love or someone's being abusive, you seek that love and connection with somebody else. I'm not saying it's good though, just to be clear, but sometimes there's other reasons behind it. And so we can't always judge, but I would say that if you have an issue with that, it's something you do need to work through before, and it's understandable to be sensitive, but if that's all you focus on, be careful, because what you focus on you attract, and if you're talking about it all the time, you're putting that energy out there, you might be creating
like manifesting.
well, she thinks I'm going to do it anyway, so
I might as well just do it.
Yeah,
I've already been bollocked for it, so why not?
So what you focus on, you attract. I love that so much.
Yeah.
Like if you're sending that message repeatedly, it's like, oh well, then
it's not working for me. I tell you.
I'm gonna focus on Tim making dinner tonight.
I'll ring him. What you got?
I sometimes feel like we rushed into engagement because everyone around us was getting married. How do you tell the difference between normal doubts and a genuine gut feeling that it's not the right time?
Such a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have already answered that, really.
Because you get to an age,
gut, really.
lots of people are doing it, and you're feeling like, and you're, come on then, it's night when he's going to...
Right time, right moment,
Yeah.
but wrong man.
I mean, I think you could... there is pressure. I found it. There's always that time ticking clock. Everyone else is doing it. This is the right time.
Yeah.
Especially now Taylor's done it.
I mean,
yeah.
And there's second marriage, third marriage. There's no right time to get married or right age to get married. I think you just got to trust your gut. And if it feels like it's going too fast, it probably is.
Yeah.
So have that conversation, and it might find that your partner's thinking the same thing.
You don't have to get married straight away. Delay the date.
Yeah.
That's
true.
Delay the date. You're not cancelling anything. You're not getting unengaged. Just actually, we've not saved up enough money for the wedding we want. Yeah. So delay it a bit more if you think.
I found out last week that my best friend has got engaged, and she's been with this guy for like 7 years, and they've just got engaged, and I'm like, I'm trying to punt for maid of honour, so I'm messaging her.
Live on TV. She'll not know a
Here
thing.
is my. Please, can I be maid of honour, Natalie? No, I've sent her messages like, "Are you okay today?" Well, like I'm punting for it. So fingers crossed.
Here we go. A few weeks after we got engaged, I found messages on his phone that he kissed somebody else on a night out. He says it meant nothing, but I feel shattered. Should we be even getting married?
I think the issue here is the fact that he didn't tell her, because if you make a mistake, then you've got to own it. And
is he hoping that he wasn't going to get caught out?
Yeah, but even still, that's not.
But she's looking through his phone like the other girl. So there's obviously something there that trust.
There's a lack of trust there.
Yeah.
I mean, again, if you can't have these conversations and you don't think it's right, the worst thing to do is marry someone that's not a good fit for you and then have to get out of that.
You can't fix it afterwards.
It's so difficult to get divorced. It's much easier to avoid it, delay it even. You don't have to call it completely off. Go to therapy, work through it, try and get rid of these. And unless people can change, and it might be a wake-up call, don't know how old he is, maybe it's an age thing and he's getting the jitters, whatever, there may be something they can work through. But right now, pushing that under the carpet and getting married, I would say no. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, don't be sorry. I think you might save some heartbreak here, because it's better to delay it because this is probably not the only issue.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, if she's checking the phone, there's obviously a trust.
There's something there. Yeah.
And trust is the foundation of any healthy relationship. And marriage with no trust is a recipe for heartbreak and pain.
It isn't just trust as in like, I trust you not to go off and have an affair with somebody else. It's trust like, I was not very well last year, and I was in hospital, and I just trusted my husband just to pick up the pieces and just sort everything out, and he did it. It's that somebody's going to catch you. That trust,
have your back.
Yeah.
And always be there.
Yeah.
So you don't,
exactly.
You don't.
It shouldn't be chaotic. It shouldn't be a worry. It shouldn't be. it shouldn't be that you come home at night and you don't know what you're going to get, and it should be that you should both be feeling.
And I remember doing this, that deep breath before you could put the key in the door.
Yeah.
You know,
what mood are they in?
Yeah.
What's showing up?
Yeah.
I've discovered my fiance has debts he never mentioned before. I feel blindsided and I'm now questioning what else he hasn't told me. Should money conversations come before marriage? And how do we rebuild trust? I think this is a really good question, because a lot of people think that getting married is all about love and relationships. It's actually a business transaction that happens with marriage as well, because you are joining two lifestyles. So you have to talk about the money and the finances. Again, the fact that he's not been able to mention it shows that there is a bit of an issue there with communication, and communication is key. We need to, it's the number one reason relationships fail and end in divorce. So we need to perfect as much as we can the communications, even if it's uncomfortable. And this could be a good thing, because obviously there's shame and there's other things associated to this. So maybe he's just found it really hard to admit, and maybe he links it to, potentially being a failure or not man enough for her. And maybe he was worried she wouldn't marry him. But then how do they work through that together? And how does she
But it's gambling debts, and is he still gambling? And I've recently just had a bride who's had to postpone her wedding because they went to pay the final amount on their wedding. So we're only a few weeks away, and there's no money.
Oh.
So he has gambled away all the money, and so that's something that you've got to
could be, yeah. I would say
question.
prenups.
I've got a prenup.
Are a really good thing. And I know people say it's really unsexy, it's not romantic. How can I bring it up? But actually, think of it like this. Think of it as marriage insurance.
Yeah.
You take out house insurance, you have car insurance, right? It's illegal not to, so you got to have it. Whereas with marriage, this is like, you're not saying you want it to fail, but you're saying if it doesn't, for reasons outside of our control.
And you think of prenups as, rich, Taylor Swift, then we were talking about her prenups and stuff like that,
It's very, it feels like it's American.
Very American. But I did it because, I had my house. My son was 17 at the time, and I needed to make sure that he was okay. It was my retirement. It was, and John straight away went, no, absolutely, if anything was to happen, whatever you put in, you go away with, and whatever's left, we split. And it was a grown-up conversation. But there was no hesitation from his side of saying, let's do it. In fact, it's a brilliant idea. So I think if they don't say that, then we are hiding things, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. And that would bring up these kind of things, because you'd have to go through and sort out the finances. So anything like this that you're thinking maybe would all come to the fore. So I think it's important for sure,
Can we do any more questions? Three more. There's three of us. You can win any more. Yeah.
Okay, let's go with that one.
So it's like, pick one.
Oh, what do I win? Here we go.
You win me.
Yay!
Right, who wants to go next?
You go first.
All right. When we argue, he shuts down and refuses to talk for days and gets angry when I try to. I don't know what's going on. I'm worried about this will get worse after the wedding.
Really interesting, right, this, because I work with the clients, Mark and Sarah. Mark was Greek, and his particular Greek family, I'm not saying all Greek families are like this, but they used to shout it out, stay in the room.
The Italians, they're very much vocal, aren't
just
they?
Just stay in the room and never go to sleep on an argument. You could raise your voice, but as long as you just sorted it out in that, it could take a while, but you wouldn't leave the room. Whereas Sarah grew up in a very quiet, very gentle, and if her parents, they never raised voices, but if there was ever a disagreement, they would leave the room, even sleep on it, and then come back to it the next day. So they grew up with that as being the most loving, most respectful way to handle conflict. So when Mark and Sarah come together...
Two different approaches.
Yeah. And yet they're both thinking they're doing the most loving, caring thing, but actually each other of them are going, well, they're being so disrespectful. They don't love me. They're not working it out. There's a problem. Now, I'm not saying every situation is different, but it could be that you're just communicating in different languages and you need to sit down and say, look, that's your learned how to resolve conflict strategy, but mine is completely different and I'm uncomfortable with that. How do we find a common ground? Because quite often we don't sit down at school. There's no lesson where you go, right, today, kids, we're going to choose how you're going to resolve conflict. Right, who wants to shout it out? Well, I do. Okay, who wants to just isolate, shut down, go, no thanks. Okay, great, you're in that crowd then. We don't ever consciously decide. We just adopt these strategies, and then whoever we end up with, they've got theirs and we've got ours, and it's like, oh, this doesn't work.
Yeah.
So we have to sort of have those conversations. These are really important pre-marriage conversations, and then you may be able to find a way through. This isn't at the end of a marriage kind of thing. If both parties are willing to work at it.
Communication skills are different.
Yeah. So it's possible to work through that, absolutely.
Okay.
But you need both to be willing and be able to have that healthy conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. What you got?
Because if you don't communicate, on the back of that, if you don't communicate and all those things, you build resentment over time.
Yeah.
You've just got to keep diffusing the situation by
festers.
communicating.
Yeah.
My partner is really close with his family, but I find them overbearing. and they get involved in every decision. I'm worried this will get worse after marriage. How do I set boundaries without causing a rift?
That's really interesting and sometimes cultural as well. So again, you've got to understand where is this coming from and what's the intention behind it.
Yeah.
Because if it's, look, this is the way we've always done it, this is traditional, this is how we do it, then there's, it's hard to work around that because that's just how things are in that family. So it's about communication. If it's someone being a nosy Parker and it just like, I want to get involved, then that might be slightly toxic. So it would be a different approach. So this is somewhere where I would say communication again with each other. And if it's really not possible, then going to see somebody who can help the two of you work it.
Mediator.
Through. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I definitely think because, that's not a reason to not get married, but it is a potential conflict area. And any of those we need to work out, is there a way around it before we get into this? Because if it's always going to cause you pain, is that something you can cope with or not? And that's the decision you make.
Because also when you've got this situation, you've not just dealing with one person in an argument, you've got the whole of his family. Is it him?
Well,
His
yes.
family?
Well, I'm going to, yes, his, yeah.
We're going to say it's him.
No, it is a him. It is a him. It is a him.
Because they come as one.
Yeah.
So if he goes home with his problem, then I get to see it.
Yeah.
They're all against you. So
quite often, if it is a toxic ex, they might have a toxic parent.
Right.
So
well, we talked about children growing up in that relationship.
And the thing is, as well, when they have children, if they go on to have children, that's going to become a factor there as well in terms of their influence on that child's life.
Yeah.
So it's something that they obviously need to communicate. Always back to communication.
Yeah,
communication's key. Listen, I if I had these tools when I was 22, 23, I may still be married to husband number one. He's thinking, oh, for God's sake. But, it was communication because I didn't know how to communicate and I was the bad person in this. It wasn't totally my fault. But, if I communicated better, then there would have been probably a different resolution. But, communication is so important.
Okay, we want very different things for the future. He's not sure he wants kids and I do. Is it ever wise to marry and hope someone changes their mind, or is that too big of a risk? I mean, this is about values aligning, and they don't have to be the same, but they do have to align and you do have to be able to live with it. So, for example, if someone really wants kids and someone doesn't, that's a massive misalignment and that is going to cause pain.
That's that tug of war starting already, isn't it?
And you can't marry for potential.
No.
But, in the hope that someone will get to where you want.
Well, this is it. People are marrying thinking, oh, well, I'll change. Once he's married, he'll settle down and, like the stag do thing, calm down. And
so I would say that's a pretty big one that is...
you need to resolve that before you get married.
It's a big risk. Well, it depends. She's asking, is it too big of a risk? But it depends. If you're happy to end up with not having kids, then that's not so much.
I think that's
risk.
important, isn't it? You've got to, can't think,
true.
I'll change him and he'll change his mind. You've got to think, right, I could potentially have no children, and if that's really important to you, then you shouldn't.
And I would say this is a big reason why people don't go through with the wedding. Because children, I mean, yes, people do change their minds, but not that often or something that fundamental.
You may not be able to have children.
Yeah.
You don't know,
exactly.
but there are different ways now.
Exactly. So again, it's worth talking about that because if, what does he think if she wanted to go off and have kids as well? Or how would that work? So I think, again, it's a communication thing, but it's a big issue, I would say.
It's a big one, big one. I know that you told us to be quiet and finish and everything, but last time when you were on, you were hoping to do something with government regarding teaching within schools, particularly helping, kids in conflict and, not going into relationships later on in life. Were you able to do that?
Well, the charity that I'm a patron of, the Dash charity, which is a Windsor, Maidenhead and Slough charity, They actually are going into schools with an education program about how to spot the signs. Yeah, they're doing amazing work. And actually, there are quite a lot of domestic abuse charities that are trying, if they can get funding, that's always the challenge, to go in and educate kids. Because if we can educate sort of at a young age, then they grow up with these tools. But we as adults can educate our kids at any point about this. I think it's really important that we train them how to spot the signs of abuse and what is unacceptable behaviour from a young age, so their boundaries are high. So I think, I mean, there's some progress, but there's a lot more to do. But I think, rather than waiting for the system to change, we all need to be proactive with our own families and just being more aware.
We had a listener actually who's local to us, and I got talking to her, and she said, I watched that. She said, my daughter is in, she's only 15, but she is in an abusive relationship already at 15, by somebody who's controlling.
The highest number of calls to the hotline at the charity are 18 to 26-year-old women, because I think a lot to do with the Andrew Tate phenomena and just the...
Just broken, isn't it?
Yeah. I just, and we get a lot of parents phoning us saying, can you help our daughter, because she's in this relationship, she can't see the wood for the trees. It's really, really tough out there right now. So that's why it is important. And I have trained the government on how to spot the signs of domestic abuse, and they're using it within, for their employees, because they are very switched on to these things. But filtering it down to kids, I think we've all got to take our own responsibility. And if you have kids in your life, make that a point of having those discussions. Bring it up when you see it. It's everywhere. It's on Netflix. You turn it on, it's happening, right? It's about just highlighting what's acceptable and what's unacceptable, and how you say no in a safe way.
Yeah, this is powerful stuff. Thank you so much for coming in again. Honestly, it is, for anybody that is out there in trouble and listening, please get in touch. It's important. When's the book out?
So the book's coming out in ebook form in October, and then it'll be hardback in November. So,
into this camera, where can everybody find you?
Sarah Davison Divorce Coach on Instagram, and www.sarahdavison.com is my website.
Fantastic. Where can we find you?
Oh, you can find me Lizzie_hosts on Instagram, and also, of course, the most amazing live music agency in the whole world, at Bougie Music Live on Instagram.
That's fantastic. And good luck with the award.
Thank you so much. I'll keep posted. I'll keep posted.
Perfect. And thank you, as always, for coming in every week and listening, sending your messages. These are really important, and we will get them answered. Ones that we haven't answered today will go in our little box, and we will get them. Anything really urgent, I will message you straight back. So please do never feel that you are alone. We are always here. You are always there.
We have online free support groups if anything today has upset anyone. So on my website, you can find them.
Wow.
They're online with my accredited coaches, 3 hours a week of support in groups.
It's free.
It's absolutely free. Yeah.
Wow.
Don't get that very often.
That's amazing.
Amazing. Thank you very much, and we'll see you all next week. Bye.